My name is Carly Hintz, and I actually just found out on Friday that I will be the new Associate Director of Education.
Awesome.
And I'm Jessica Jens, and I'm the Executive Director of Riveredge.
Great. Well, I'm Kristen Kunkel. I'm the Research Manager with the North American Association for Environmental Education.
So Riveredge Nature Center is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. It was the first independent nature center in southeastern Wisconsin. And really our programs are separated into kind of three buckets, and those are education, environmental education, as well as research and land conservation. We place Riveredge educators into school districts, and they're called scientists in residence, but they aren't there just to teach programs. A lot of people think it's just an outreach initiative, and really they're there and they partner with the school district administrators and teachers to inspire the teachers and help them in ways that will be sustainable after they're gone, in bringing their curriculum to life outside. So help those schools realize that the boundaries of their facility walls are not the boundaries of their classroom, that really their classroom boundaries should be outdoors.
So when we talk about evaluation, we really talk about it in kind of those two different ways. Understanding the process and how we're doing at building relationships and partnerships, and also the impacts. What are like the key stories of just success, and what are the numbers behind that? I guess that's how I talk about it. Mm-hmm. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah. So really our emphasis on evaluation above and beyond satisfaction surveys and those type of more simplistic evaluation models really started when we brought Carly on in 2013 and invested in a position that could have the capacity to work on high-level evaluations here. And then we partnered with UW-Milwaukee to help bring somebody else to the table to ensure that the main evaluation initiatives that we have here are of a very high rigor, and that we could replicate them year after year, and that the results that we were getting from those we could feel very confident in.
The first thing that we learned in the year one, we did a pre and post survey with teachers, and we asked things like, how aware are they of the partnership, and what is their understanding of the goals? What are their ideas for implementing? And we also just tried to get a sense for like how often they were baseline utilizing outdoor learning and integrating into their everyday class structure. And what we learned right away is that as could be expected with any new partnership, there was some gap in communication from the administrative level to the teachers who are actually the real players in the in the game of implementation. So we learned that right away off the gate, and we got some great ideas from teachers about how to make sure that this program is successfully implemented in their schools.
I'm so glad that we had the evaluation to highlight that for us, because we had been talking with the schools and teachers and principals about presenting in West Bend's case at teacher conferences, and we did teacher meetings, and we did a visioning session. And then when we got the feedback back that teachers still didn't understand there was a communication breakdown. Mm-hmm. It kind of, I'll just speak frankly, kind of blew my mind. I'm like, what? We've been doing all of this. And so it was so critical to get that feedback from the school district. If we wouldn't have had that, mm-hmm. we would have just kept blazing a trail, probably thinking that we were communicating well, and that the school was, all the players at the school were communicating and talking about it. And so it was just a really obvious, easy piece of information to all of a sudden have right in front of our face that instantly solicited changes in the program.
Some of the suggestions that teachers made were to have the scientists in residence sit in at all of the curriculum and grade level meetings, so that they're getting more face time with the teachers and understanding what their curriculum gaps are and where it could be benefited from more hands-on outdoor learning. So boom, Kendra and Megan both sat in on all of the curriculum and grade level meetings for a full school year, and that's still continuing to this day with the target grades. The other thing was that we knew we needed, at the time, we did not have a kind of an oversight committee. And so again, it seemed fairly obvious to create a steering committee, but that really came as a result of teachers saying, you know, we'd like more representatives of the program closer to home so that we have ambassadors to kind of check in with or talk to, rather than relying on the very busy district leadership or Riveredge staff. So we created a steering committee. They met 3 times throughout the school year, and in that committee there were representatives of every school and at least every target grade. So, you know, about a dozen or so people, and some administrative help in there too, some of those really key players who are highly invested in the program.
So you talked about a lot of things that seem to be working really well for you, but it also sounds like they might have taken a lot of coordination, a lot of effort, and maybe a lot of time. So if you were to convince someone else to integrate evaluation as part of their work, what would you say to them to encourage them?
I can, something that's been going through my mind as Carly's been talking is you're right, it does take a lot of time, but this program would not be possible without the evaluations. So this program is funded through a variety of partners and funding partners, and as well as school districts having to say yes. And if we didn't have these evaluations, either the evaluation plan of how we were going to evaluate the program when it kicked off, or the results, not only positive results, but challenges as well, these, I will tell you 110%, these funders would not be at the table doing this program, and we would not have a scientist in residence program. My recommendation is that it does make sense to look hard at being able to dedicate a percentage of time from a staff member position to evaluation, only because of the incredible results it's had here. I mean, we, from achieving federal grants for the first time in a while, to the impacts in the community and the partnerships, if Carly wasn't here, we wouldn't have done any of those things. And just as a caveat for any organizations out here, if they watch this or if that's the intent of this, is that Carly's not for sale. So please don't come and try to hire Carly, because no, we're not letting Carly go. Sorry.
Fair enough.